Art with Miss Strauss, 2nd grade art, for October 19th through October 30th. Are you ready for Lesson 5, Geometric Shapes? If you think back to our lesson about the elements of art, you know that we've already talked a little bit about shapes. This week we are going to continue to talk more about geometric shapes, but also we are going to talk about some fall festivals. Halloween. And it's okay if you don't do these things at your house, but it's important to know about other cultures and people. And I promise this won't get too spooky. We'll also talk about the Mexican Day of the Dead festival. These holidays happen around the same time of year, but they're definitely not the same thing. Before we get too far, let's talk about setting up your art space. Find a comfortable spot for you and your art materials. Really, the only thing you'll need right now is your school laptop or iPad. In this lesson, I will be using the optional materials. I will be using writing utensils, like a regular pencil, art supplies like colored pencils, crayons, and markers, plain white paper, and possibly some digital drawing tools. Now, this lesson is in 2 parts. This part is going to be on the computer, but the next time you have art class, you should be in the classroom. Words to know. Geometric, pattern, rhythm, festival. Do you remember when we talked about color in our lesson about the elements of art? It's okay if you didn't. We said that there were primary colors, and there are only 3 of them: blue, red, and yellow. When you mix 2 primary colors together, you get secondary colors. Artists have been using colors for many centuries to create artwork. An artist needs to understand how to mix color and what will happen when they put certain colors together. When you mix the primary colors, yellow and blue, you get green. When you mix the primary colors, blue and red, you get purple. When you mix the primary colors, yellow and red, you get the secondary color, orange. Our lesson about the elements of art? It's okay if you didn't. We did say something about primary colors in that lesson. We said that there were primary colors, and there are only 3 of them: blue, red, and yellow. When you mix 2 primary colors together, you get secondary colors. When you mix the primary colors, yellow and blue, you get green. When you mix the primary colors, blue and red, you get purple. When you mix the primary colors, yellow and red, you get the secondary color, orange. Many people from Mexico speak a different language called Spanish. Since we are talking about the Mexican holiday, the Day of the Dead, I thought that we should also see if Señora Alicia could talk to us about different colors in Spanish. Are you ready?
Hola, ¿vamos a cantar? Hola, hola, ¿cómo estás? Mira, escucha y entenderás. Hola, hola, ¿cómo estás? Bienvenidos a Arte y Más. Hola, Susana.
Hola, señora Alicia. Hola, niños y niñas.
Hola means
Mira,
hello.
Escucha y contesta. Tengo pinturas. Son 3 colores, ¿verdad? Rojo,
The 3 primary
amarillo
colors, red,
y azul.
yellow, blue.
Son los 3 colores primarios. Colores
3
primarios.
primary
Voy a
colors.
mezclar amarillo,
Yellow,
amarillo con rojo.
red,
Y ahora tengo el color... Sí,
New color.
anaranjado. Muy bien, el color anaranjado. Ahora voy a
Orange.
mezclar amarillo,
yellow,
el color amarillo
yellow,
con el color azul.
the color blue,
Y tengo entonces el color Verde, muy bien, el color verde. Bien.
Very good. The color
Ahora
green.
voy a mezclar el color azul y el color rojo, ¿verdad?
Red.
Un poquito de rojo y un poquito de azul.
And the color blue.
Voy a tener otro color. Y este color es el color morado. El
The color
color
purple.
morado.
Purple.
El color morado. Bien.
The color purple.
Entonces tenemos
Good.
colores primarios, el color
Primary colors.
rojo, el color
Red.
amarillo y el
Yellow.
color azul. Y los
Blue.
colores secundarios, morado,
Secondary colors.
anaranjado,
Orange.
verde. Muy
Green.
bien. Ahora vamos a
Very
mirar.
good. Hopefully you remember our lesson about the elements of art. Number 2, shape. Shape. Shapes are flat. They are 2D or two-dimensional. There are many shapes in the world, and you've probably already learned about some of the geometric shapes. Circles, triangles, squares, and rectangles. Those are examples of geometric shapes. Maybe you've seen this program in math class, but this pattern shape sorter shows us some geometric shapes that you might recognize. We can put shapes together to make different pictures. Pattern. Pattern is not an element of art, but instead a principle of design. Pattern is when the same combination of shapes and colors and lines are used throughout an area or entire work of art. The same combination is repeated in order. Pattern can be made with shapes. Maybe you've made patterns in art class, or maybe you've made patterns in math class. A pattern might be green triangle, orange square, green triangle, orange square. That's an example of a pattern. Rhythm is another principle of design. It is very similar to pattern because shapes, lines, and colors are repeated. However, the combination or repetition of the elements does not have to be in a certain order. Notice that these triangles are used all throughout. However, there's no pattern to the color. This is rhythm. The next word is festival. What do you think that word means? A festival is a day or period of celebration that is often part of a tradition. Not everyone celebrates festivals or holidays, and some people celebrate the same type of holiday or festival in different kinds of ways. It's okay to talk about festivals or holidays that we don't participate in, as long as we are being respectful of the other people who do. Now, I don't think that I would call Halloween a festival, but it is a celebration that happens this time of year. This picture shows some Halloween decorations. What do you notice about the colors? Do you notice any secondary colors? I notice orange, purple, and green. These colors are often used together with black as decorations for this holiday. Halloween is one of the oldest holidays, and it is celebrated all around the world. A long time ago in Europe, Halloween costumes were worn as disguises to trick wandering spirits and fairies. Back then, they also believed that jack-o'-lanterns kept the spirits and fairies out of their houses. Halloween falls on October 31st. That's the end of the month. People tell spooky stories, decorate their houses, carve jack-o'-lanterns, get dressed up for trick-or-treating, and eat lots and lots of candy. Candy. While Halloween and the Day of the Dead may share some similarities, they are definitely not the same thing. What is the Day of the Dead? Let's find out more.
Today, I'm celebrating Día de los Muertos. That's Spanish for the Day of the Dead. It is a Mexican holiday where people remember family members and friends who have died. It is celebrated on November 1st and 2nd. Even though you might see a lot of skulls and skeletons, Día de los Muertos is not meant to be scary. It is a happy celebration. During Día de los Muertos, families build and decorate beautiful altars called ofrendas. Decorations include pictures of loved ones, water, flowers, foods, and candles. Sugar skulls are made and decorated during the holiday. The sugar skulls can also be eaten. Yum! These people are making papel picados. They're decorations made out of paper and cut into designs. Look at the dancers. They have their faces painted like skeletons. Listen to the happy music. The dancers are wearing colorful dresses. At the end of the festival, there is a candlelit parade to the cemetery to visit the altars. Wow! The altars look different at night with all the candles. It is nice to remember our friends and family even when they're no longer with us. Do you celebrate any holidays? Which holidays do you spend with friends and family?
Did you notice all of the colors that were used to decorate? I see lots of orange, and some purple, and some green. There's also some blue and yellow. And look, there's some red. Let's look at some more images from this festival. The sugar skulls used in this festival are very colorful.
Do you notice any pattern or rhythm? Do you see how the line moves? Do you notice any geometric shapes? How about squares or circles? What kind of patterns and shapes do you see?
I wonder where they found so many orange, purple, and red flowers. Did you notice all of those orange flowers? They're in so many of the decorations for the Day of the Dead. These flowers are called marigolds. Marigolds can be orange and yellow, or a combination of both. I have some marigolds growing by my house. Do you have any marigolds growing by where you live? Or maybe you've seen them growing in other places. Now I know it's not the same, but we're back in Schoology in an art course that should look a lot like yours. I'm in the Lesson 5 folder, and underneath the lesson video there is a folder that says Optional Extras for Lesson 5. When I click on it, I can see two things. The first thing I can see is Pattern Shapes by Math Learning Center. When I open this up, I'm going to go to a page for digital art tools. Also, there's the Just for Fun Sugar Skull coloring pages. Now, I'm going to show you this one first. I'm going to open that, and here I can open with Cami and draw directly on the printable pages. Also, I can click here, and if I have a printer at home, I can print them out. Luckily for me, I do have a printer, and I wanted you to be able to see what these different sugar skulls are like. Now, this one already has some on it, and there's one that has nothing on it at all, that it's just blank. Now that I'm at home, I can either draw directly on this one, or just look at them to see what I should draw. So if you're at home and you're looking at your screen, you can open that file and look at these files as an example, and then just draw your own on a blank piece of paper. Now, today's lesson is all about geometric shapes. I'm going to start with just a pencil, but then maybe I use other drawing tools like a compass, or I trace other things, and I have tools or stencils that I could trace, or even just another piece of paper to use as a straight edge. To start, I'm going to have my paper in portrait mode. That means it's long on the sides, short on the top. That's portrait mode. To make sure mine is big enough, these are pretty big. I'm going to put this right here for reference. To make sure mine's big enough, there we go, I'm going to use my hand as a guide. And I'm going to use this dark black charcoal pencil so you can see my drawing. If I just used a regular pencil, you won't be able to see it on the screen. So I'm going to start with a dot on the top of my finger, and then a dot right here behind my palm. Now I'm going to make a big oval shape. I'm going to start going around this way, and this way. I'm filling almost all the paper. And I'm going to match it up here and here. Now, that's pretty good. I'm going to add a little bit at the bottom here for those teeth though. So one line down on this side, and then I'm going to draw a line over and a line up. Now, if you're drawing at home, you want to erase this line here. And if you're drawing at home with a pencil, you want to just use light pressure so you don't see it. I want you to see all of my lines, so I'm pressing really hard. Now I'm going to add, it's like an upside down U for those teeth. Ready? I'm going to do some teeth all across. 1, 2, 3, 4. And on this side, I'm going to do some more. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have 2 eyes that are circles and a heart-shaped nose. So we're going to try and keep this as geometric as we can. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to practice though. Ready? So I'm going to start with my 2 eyes about right here, kind of in the middle of that first circle. Ready? I'm going to do them big, some big eyes. 1, 2. My circle. And it's okay if you want to start by filling these in black. And sometimes it's easier to start with a little circle and make it bigger and bigger and bigger until you get it just right. Now, if I'm doing this, it's going to be hard to erase, and I don't mind. I'm going to make it bigger and bigger until it matches this one. Bigger and bigger. That way, I don't have to worry about erasing because I'm just adding more and more and more to the outside of them until I get them about the same, and I feel good about it. There we go. 2 eyes. And I'm going to do something similar for the heart, for the nose. I'm going to start with 1 line. And on this side of the line, to the bottom, I'm going to start with a small circle. And it looks like a musical note, doesn't it? On this side, I'm going to do the same thing until they're about the same size. They're about the same size, right? I can leave it like that. That looks like a nose. Or I can fill it in, and now I have that upside down heart shape. Ta-da! That is the base of my sugar skull. Now, what I'm going to do next is use my tools, like a straight edge or a ruler, to add patterns that are geometric to my sugar skull. That means things like a triangle, things like a square, things like line. What else? What are some other shapes we could use? It's up to you to fill in. You can either go around your sugar skull with your geometric shapes or fill in the sugar skull with geometric shapes. If you want to look at those printouts, to help you, you can see these shapes on here fill in all over the face for our sugar skulls. I hope that helps you. The next part, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it in fast forward. Are you ready? Here we go. Now, this was the end of my practice, and if you don't have a printer or paper or crayons where you are, you can also go back to Schoology and open with Cami to draw directly on those printable sheets. The other thing you can do is back in this optional extras folder, you can go to Pattern Shapes Math Learning Center. This might look familiar and maybe you've done this before, but these are like tangram puzzle pieces. You can put these together and maybe you can arrange them in a way that you make your own sugar skull, but with these geometric shapes instead of drawing them on paper. You can place them and spin them till you get it just right. I hope this helps you, and I hope you can practice making geometric shapes and patterns.
Thanks for practicing art with me. Goodbye.